What is going on, guys, and welcome back to the Sixers Digest YouTube channel. We have breaking news in the NBA and Sixers world as Jrue Holiday has now been traded, unfortunately, to the Boston Celtics. I know I'm mobile in a different location today, but I want to make sure I jumped in and gave my reaction and broke down why this implicates the Sixers and why Joel Embiid is already expressing his concern. Before I dive fully into it, I do want to make sure that you guys are hitting that subscribe button on the channel. 88.8% of you watching this video have not subscribed yet. We are seeing that number grow a little bit. More and more you guys are subscribing, so I do appreciate that. We have a ton of big plans coming up for the Sixers season. Media Day starts tomorrow. I'm going to be all over it starting tomorrow and throughout the whole season. So very excited about what we got going on, so make sure you're not missing out on any action. Now, to talk about the news today, number one, we get a bomb from Shams Charania here that the Boston Celtics are acquiring star guard Jrue Holiday from the Portland Trailblazers for a package that includes Malcolm Brogdon and multiple picks. So this also includes Robert Williams, a couple draft picks, more than the Sixers had in as far as the ammunition when it comes to trade aspects. It is disappointing that we're kind of just outbidded in there, and it's even more frustrating that it's the Boston Celtics that he's going to. I was pretty excited going into the season that I could pretty openly and be excited that the Celtics were going to take a step back this year, that I think they underrated how important Marcus Smart was to that team. But now Jrue Holiday is a pretty good Marcus Smart replacement. He brings a lot of the good with Marcus Smart. We talk about a defensive-minded player, a guy who's capable of bringing the energy, bringing that toughness. And Jrue Holiday is going to take out a little of the unnecessary stuff that Marcus Smart does. You know, the altercations, the flopping. So Holiday's going to fill a lot of what they need while kind of improving the team from the aspect of taking out some of the dumb things they do. So it is an excellent move by the Celtics. I do want to bring up just the full trade for Damian Lillard. Now that this does complete things, as I mentioned on the past video, that the gamble the Trailblazers were basically getting assets through the Jrue Holiday for reflipping them. So the final tally is Portland getting DeAndre Ayton, Robert Williams, Malcolm Brogdon, Toumani Camara, 3 first-round picks, Golden State, a top 4 protected, 2029 Bucks and Celtics unprotected, and 2028 and 2030 Milwaukee pick swap. So now that the deal is complete, that does look like a much better picture for the Trailblazers return there. Now, I do want to talk about how this implicates the Sixers, because we know the James Harden rumors continue to swirl on. It's been quite clear that he does not want to be in Philadelphia and he wants to be traded, and the market continues to shore up that the Clippers are still on the table. The bad news here, and I've seen some people connecting dots in the fear that Malcolm Brogdon is bought out and signs with the Clippers, that would not be good for the Sixers from the standpoint of taking away another potential destination for James Harden. The Sixers just have to find a way to get value, and the hurdle that they keep hitting is there's just not these offers on the table. Everyone can see the nonsense that James Harden is putting forth. We know what he has left in the tank as a player. I guess we don't really know what he has left in the tank as a player is the bigger concern there. And now we're starting to see some frustration from Joel Embiid. He went and took to his Twitter. He took the Troel out of his Twitter bio and then sent a tweet out saying the offseason was fun, LMAO. So clearly putting some, I guess, a message to the Sixers that he is frustrated, and he should be. If you want to look at what has been done this offseason, the Bucks added Damian Lillard. Massive move. The Celtics added Kristaps Porzingis and Jrue Holiday. Those are notable moves. The Grizzlies added Marcus Smart. The Suns added Bradley Beal. The Warriors added Chris Paul. And as we sit here today, probably the most significant move that the Sixers have made is maybe bring in Pat Beverly, maybe Mo Bamba, whichever one of these guys, Kelly Oubre, if you want to look at it that way. The bottom line is it's not even the stratosphere of what the other contenders are doing. And for whatever consecutive year in Joel Embiid's career, we're sitting here with uncertainty with his co-star, and we don't really know what the outcome is for here. Media Day is tomorrow, that we will now see guys report to the training facility. We will have these conversations, and all the awkward conversations that have been avoided throughout the offseason as far as what's your outlook for James Harden, what's the expectations for him this year, those are now going to come front and center. That the Sixers do not have the benefit of getting the deals done like the Trailblazers clearly did with Damian Lillard. That was a deadline that they wanted to hit to make sure a deal was done before Media Day and training camp starts, so they have the team that is going to be together. The Sixers are not going to have that luxury. They're going to have to face the music, answer some hard questions, and we're going to enter this season with no real clue of what the finishing roster will look like. We've seen Daryl Morey kind of deflect throughout the entire offseason, saying, don't worry about the roster. That is going to look very different once the season starts. Don't pay too much attention now. Well, we're here, man. Training camp is starting once again tomorrow. So the roster that we have, that's who's showing up, and James Harden is still on it. So the Sixers have to find a way to get some sort of value in a deal. They have to find a way to clean this up, and they're just getting left behind. We already know that there's a gap between the Sixers and the main contenders. They have not been out of the second round in the entire Joel Embiid era. So now for there to already be a gap and watching these other teams get better while these Sixers sit on the sideline is incredibly frustrating. If Joel Embiid is frustrated to the point of wanting to request a trade, I honestly understand it. That I understand how frustrated he must be, the amount of times it feels like we're doing it. To this point in time, we are not at that place, and the hope is that the Sixers find a way to get some sort of value for James Harden, find a way to right this ship, that maybe Tyrese Maxey can take a step forward, take a leap forward in his development that puts him on a playing field up near with these stars. That's the biggest source of life from the Sixers, that Tyrese Maxey truly is, I guess, that voice of optimism or beam of optimism for what the franchise could be. But at this point in time, it's tough to talk yourself into these Sixers being a true contender. That you can't honestly look hard in the mirror, look at the Celtics roster, look at the Bucks roster, and think these Sixers are on par with this team. This arms race in the East is getting stronger and stronger, and the Sixers continue to sit on the sideline. I understand the lack of assets. I understand they're not in a great spot, and I also get the game plan of keeping options open when it comes to the 2024 cap space, plans for beyond for years moving forward. But they're not getting better, and we have to play this season this year. Now, there's no excuse. There will be basketball played. This will be another year of Joel Embiid's prime that we're entering. Do you really want to just waste that, continue frustrating him, and just hope that he continues to be buy-in? We know how the NBA works. It's crystal clear at this point. We see how much power stars have, and when they say those simple words of "I want to be traded," it genuinely happens. The Sixers are not far from honestly seeing Joel Embiid click that button and having to take a hard look at a rebuild. That is the brutal reality that they are teetering on right now. That if they don't find a way to get some positive value to climb into this contending category, it's over. The process is over. That they're going to have to restart these things. We are that close to this being a reality. For now, Joel Embiid remains committed to the Sixers. He is an MVP candidate, the reigning MVP, a guy that is one of the top 5 players in the sport of basketball across the entire world. You owe it to your franchise, your roster, that player, this team, to build a contender and find a way to win. So now is the call to action time for Daryl Morey. It's time to wake up. It's time to get creative. It's time to find a way to finish this deal to get these Sixers at least in the vicinity of these other roster teams. Whether or not that happens is still very much to be determined. That we can tell these Sixers have plenty of work to do. They have limited options. And James Harden is not going to be doing himself any favors by stirring up more. So how frustrated will Joel Embiid? Is this simply him taking Joel out of his Twitter bio, him trying to take things more seriously? Is this a step toward maturity that he just wants to make his voices felt? And by the way, when we talk about pressure being brought on by a star, take a look at Milwaukee, man. That anytime Giannis shows a hint of frustration, the organization responds. They did it when they won the first championship by going out and trading for Jrue Holiday, and they did it again this offseason by going out and trading Dame Lillard. We saw the comments from Giannis basically saying that he would not commit to the franchise if he does not feel they're similarly committed to building a championship in the way that he is. Not even a couple months go by, and all of a sudden they're shipping off for a guy who's a top 5 offensive talent in the NBA. A guy that immediately covers the weakness for the team, immediately lifts the ceiling of the franchise as a contender this year. And that's how that Giannis is going to remember that. He's going to note that is the blueprint for how you survive as a small market franchise when you have a superstar. While Philadelphia is not quite as small market as Milwaukee, it's in a similar spot in that I don't buy into these, lucrative free agents wanting to come here in the same way. They go to Miami, they go to Los Angeles, they go to these primetime cities, they go down to Texas, get the tax breaks, cash out of the money, all those things. Philadelphia does not hold that same level of attraction. So these Sixers have to operate this by using Joel Embiid as that magnet of getting guys to play with him. And why has that not worked? Is some of it in Joel? Does there need to be some look in the mirror in the style he plays, the way he plays? Maybe. But the reality is the reality. The situation is the situation. The Sixers have to find a way to get this right and figure it out now. The more other teams get better, the worse it is for the Sixers. So now it's time to clean it up, look in the mirror, get creative, and you have to find a way to get a James Harden deal done. Whether or not that'll happen is to be determined. Media Day is going to be a big day tomorrow, and we start to see an outlook into the mindset, the questions from other guys. I'm sure we're going to have some notable quotes to break down. I will be right here tomorrow making sure that I'm on it for that. Make sure to stay posted for that. Appreciate you guys for tuning into this video. Once again, hit that subscribe button, ring that bell so you're not missing out on any content, and we have a wild ride ahead of us this season. Peace.